God created a being which could, to us, be perceived as female, but gender was an odd and frankly non-existent concept in these times. As it turns out, however, this very creation was the reason God invented the concept in the first place. God called himself male, as he was a higher being, and he called the other gods male as well, as they were similar to him. And he called his creation female. The appliance of "fe" to male was to imply that as he made her, she was therefore of him. However, as things went along, he discovered that simply having created a being did not make it as he wanted it, and that in fact there were thoroughly annoying qualities to this female. God's future creations will give his first creation many names, and most of them are not kind. She will, for whatever reason, come to prefer the name Satan above all the others. Satan was not much like a Barbie doll. In fact, not much at all. She would not do as she was told, would blatantly disagree with God on certain matters, and would even occasionally refuse to be played with. This was the beginning of God's quarrel with that other gender. God was annoyed very quickly, and he began to think of destroying her. But he had created her, and to him she was property. He disliked the thought of destroying something which belonged to him, especially since she was the first creation of his. So maybe he could store her somewhere, keep her away from him without having to do anything final. The other planes of existence weren't being used, he thought. He may as well make use of just one of them. There were so many. Eventually, he found a way to make a portal to an entirely different plane of existence and banished her to stay there. God was slightly weakened by the great effort it took to create the portal, and it had gone awry several times before he got it right. He would spend some time resting, to get back to his regular self. But the wonders of boredom would soon again take over the greater amount of God's time. He had to think of something to do. And then, the second really great idea that we ought to be more thankful for entered the mind of God. But this idea was grand and difficult to execute, so he would contact the other gods about it. And as it happened, all the gods were very excited about the idea of the matter. But, as the nature of firsts put the odds against those who would dare try to control them, this first collective first did indeed go very much wrong as well. A very big bang occurred, and all the gods were surprised. The loud mess now in existence was expanding, and the gods were unsure of what to do with it. They now had matter, and the possibilities were, to their knowledge, without limits. It was decided that all the gods would participate in the meeting and vote on what to do with the matter. Some gods felt the matter should be destroyed, as it was clearly a failure. Others thought it should be frozen, so it would cease its expansion. Otherwise, the matter may take over the universe, and there would be nothing left for them. A few gods suggested that the matter be moved to their territory, and they promised not to bother the others with it. And there were the gods who were of the opinion that the matter would sort itself out if it were simply left alone. The gods argued for a long time, and it became a bit of a fight. Some stuck together while others fought on their own, trying to destroy those who disagreed. A few were attempting to hide, unsuccessfully, while others were throwing hissy fits. When the gods fight, it seems to take a long time for them to stop, and this fight was no exception. By the time things calmed down, matter had begun to gather into large orbs. The gods who remained in existence were astounded, and they began to discuss the possibilities. Fairly quickly, by godly standards, new territories were assigned. These territories did not depend on a certain place in the universe, but rather they would follow specific matter as it moved within the universe.